Julian, this is your wife.
That's correct.
You work with your wife?
Yeah, every day, bro.
I can't. A brother works with a sister. Y'all get along. It's a beautiful thing. You know, the divorce rate is really high. Folks can't get along. Baby mama drama, baby daddy drama. But y'all work together in this garden. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
Really is.
So, I mean, how does that? Do y'all argue over what's going to be planted and that kind of good stuff? Or you just say, cool, let's just go with it?
No, we argue about what's going to be planted.
For real?
Well, you know, we have our preferences, and you know, we're individuals, but you know, that's the beauty of marriage. You gotta come together, and when you're out here planting together, those are those type of times that Julian, I think, really, and I think are the most intimate moments for us, because we're out here early in the morning alone and we're having a quiet time. So it's about a bonding experience. So,
And you're in the city, though. That's amazing. You're in the city and you're doing this. Now, next year, we're taping this in August.
yes.
People want to start an urban garden in their backyard. We got a lot of vacant fields in Chicago.
Sure.
How do we go about starting this garden in the spring of next year? Should we start in the fall now, or should we start in the spring of next year?
Well, I say we garden year round, and our strategy for what we would say to begin your garden, if you have a vacant lot in your neighborhood, is start with your block club. That would be your most basic beginning for where you want to go with this kind of thing. What happens is that at the block club, you know, you get to talk with your block club president. They already have a relationship with the political agents of your community. Like for us, you know, our block club president directed us to our alderman, and from there we kind of had a lot of conversations and thought about how this would affect the community, if what other plans the city might have, how does this add community, are there TIF funds available for projects such as these, you know, so I would start with your block. We're in real estate as well, and we have a saying that an old gentleman told us back in the day, a real estate guy. He told one of our friends, you got to go block by block. So that's what our mission is, a block by block mission. So what happens on this block then starts to affect the next block. We have children coming from 3-4 blocks away to come and turn over the garden with us. And you know, we've had experiences where children held up the tomatoes. One year we planted out 500 tomato plants here. And that was to kind of show the more industrial side of planting. And when we did that, one of the kids held up the tomato. He said, "What is this, an apple?" I said, I just realized the work at that moment. I said, there's a lot of work to be done, you know, to educate our children, show them how to change something that was nothing, has no use, that was an eyesore to the community, make it where kids can play. You know, when we have block clubs, we bring the horses to come through here.
But let me ask your husband Julian about digging in the dirt. If I want to start a garden, either do I start it now in the fall, or do I start in April or March? Whether it's the backyard or a big giant field like this, what do we do? How do we start that garden?
Well, if you want to get a good jump, you know, you can identify the section you want to grow in.
Keep going. Keep talking.
And, you know, you can spend some time in prep work for the next season. So if you want to, hey, it hasn't been turned over in some time, turn it over in September, October.
Oh, so I start digging. This show's gonna tape air in September. I can start digging up my garden or the plot of land in September before it get cold.
Right, before it gets cold and the ground freezes. That way the nutrients that are like let me use this
sure,
one.
Go ahead.
This is clover mainly.
Right.
In this section.
Right.
So you would turn the clover into the soil, and that would provide nutrients for the soil for next season.
You don't throw down no chemicals down.
Oh,
No chemicals. Just turn it over. All right.
And during the winter months, the clover and the greenery will break down, and you know, like I said, it'll add nutrients and feed to the soil for the plants that you plan to put in the spring.
And what should I put in, and what should I throw in the spring? Should I put it down in March, or when it starts getting warm in April? When do I throw the seeds down?
Well, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Okay, you know, this plan, for this year, we're going to begin with planting garlic. Now, garlic is garlic is planted in the fall,
Oh.
and that way you'll have a spring crop. So you'll have something going over the winter that's also remediating the soil. It's putting a ecosystem, the structure of the soil. It's rebuilding that over the winter time. So it kind of helps build up the nutrition of the soil. And so we start with things that are bulb-like plants. So we're going to start with tulips we would put in because that's also something that really the soil really loves. Anything that goes in the ground, potatoes, that's all for the soil. So in the fall you plant your garlic. So all of our gardens, we have a garden in London Townhome. We're going to do tulips and garlic because the basis of our gardening comes out of a biodynamic theory, which is something that you kind of have to work, let nature heal itself. It's the same with the body. You know, you put something in the body if you're sick to live. You know, you put life in the body. So we're doing the same thing with the soil. No chemicals, none of that kind
No
of
chemicals. Now, when I start planting something in the spring, I want to plant something that's gonna grow. Because I planted stuff and nothing. I planted corns, but I just throw seeds down and throw some dirt on it and walk away.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I normally do.
We've done that
I don't do no
ourselves.
care. I mean, it's more than just throwing the seeds in the dirt and walking away like I do, right?
Well, you know, it can be done that way, Mark.
Yes.
It
But
can?
you know,
It can be that easy.
if you're a novice, like
Yeah,
I said,
I'm a novice.
buy the seedlings.
Okay.
Things that are easy to grow. In the beginning, I like tomatoes.
Tomatoes, okay.
An herb that's easy to grow is basil.
Oh, basil.
Add something like that.
I don't like no okra. Okra's nasty. It's so slimy.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Yeah.
We're growing
Now, what is this plant right here?
This is
It's
okra.
okra.
That's okra? That's what okra? I never seen an okra plant.
Yeah, this is
I'm
okra
so ignorant.
here. And here is,
Yeah.
these are beets.
Okay, I've
Now,
seen beets.
are
Yeah, I've seen the
excellent
top
for
part of
the
beets.
soil.
Right, beets.
We use a lot of the greens in juicing.
See, the beets I wouldn't eat, but I'll chop them up in the blender and make something out of it.
yeah.
That's what I wouldn't. I
That's-
can't
that's
stand to
what's
eat.
up.
Yeah, right.
That's what's up, Mark.
Yeah, but that's
That's how I
beets.
eat
Now,
mine.
so the beets, but you put the beets in the ground, the rabbits and the rats, and I could go dig up them beets and eat them up.
Well, along with the biodynamic farming, you co-plant. So you see some co-planting here is basil and tomatoes and onions back here.
So why do you co-plant? Why you put the basil over here and other plants over here?
That's a natural insect. What would you call that?
Deterrent?
Deterrent.
Yeah.
Now, how does that work though?
Is I can't name specifically the chemical
Right.
in basil and onions.
Wow.
Here's the onion.
Insects are they're adverse to it.
So
They don't
you
like it.
plant certain foods or vegetables to ward off the
Right.
the insects.
So they stay
Miracles.
away from the tomatoes. That's specifically why we did it here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How y'all went to the library and read all this stuff? This is amazing.
Well, you know, we went down to Pembroke in 2008. You know, we got the kids. We had 4 at that time.
That's the big farm down there.
Yeah, we met a brother, Nakai Miller, and he, you know, he invited us to work on his 5 acres. He actually brought it up to 11. We planted a lot of melons, and we learned so much with that experience. Planting in a very difficult soil. Most of the soil in Pembroke is sandy. So he really gave us some really deep insight into the biodynamic farming. Other principles, they work on astronomy, where you plant and coincide with the signs. Like every day the signs turn, so you might be in a water sign. I would assume that we're probably close to a water sign
It's
because
usually
of
raining,
the weather. And so you plant all your leafy vegetables, you know, like your greens during that sign. When it's a hot sign, you know, you plant all your peppers, and your fire signs plants the peppers and tomatoes. During your earth sign, you plant these kind of things, your root, because that's the time to give back. So if you kind of stay in harmony with nature, it seems to be working.
Well,
for
I
us.
ain't got no harmony in nature because all I got is weeds in my backyard. I ain't nothing but I threw some plants down, some corn down, some other stuff, and all I got is weeds. So I must be out of whack. out of pocket. I must be
Yeah.
throwing out some evil spirits to the gods. And that's why my garden has number
Well,
weeds in it.
it depends on your soil. We've planted places where the soil was just terrible, and it didn't grow anything. The soil might be too hot. It might have too much acid in it, and that's kind of why we.
What
divide
about
the
these
roads.
grubs? I never knew that. I thought grubs are only out in the suburbs. So I turned over soil one time. I saw a little crawly thing. I think they're grubs. Is that good or bad for your lawn and your grass? I mean, for your plants, those little grubby things.
From what I know, we have them here. They've never bothered the plants.
They just do what they got to do.
What they do.
Okay.
As far as maintaining a lawn, I know it's a problem there.
There's a way to get rid of those naturally. You can plant something that the grubs don't like.
Okay. So
You gotta read up on it.
okay, no, I'm ready to go back. This is too much. This is like work to me looking at these plants. I'm about to go back home. But
Okay.
before I go, talk about this. You work with some people at Chicago State University. Now, what are they doing over there? At Chicago State, they have like a hydro, what they call it?
Aquaponics.
Oh, yeah.
Aquaponics with Professor Emmanuel Pratt there. Emmanuel Pratt. He is he's out of, I think, Syracuse, and he's now working at Chicago State, and he has a gigantic industrial aquaponics lab.
I got to go over there.
Yes.
And he ain't growing weed now, is he?
Oh, no.
That's all legit.
Yeah, no,
But
no, no.
they got legal marijuana now, so that's a whole nother ball game. But they are growing food. They show regular folks like you and I how to, me, not you, how to grow food in the backyard.
He would love to.
Okay.
He would love to.
That's my whole thing.
We have a large collective. We have a lot of people that we kind of work within the group. We have a food preservationist, Barbara Pillows, and she does after this phase, like I say, it's a year-round project. When we have all the tomatoes, at the end of the season, whatever we have left over, what do we do with it? Then that's when we go into food preservation. We need someone to can our food. We need someone who dehydrates our food.
Now let me make this point, because I didn't want you to come here and leave without.
Go right ahead.
The urban agriculture movement is really a significant opportunity for our people. I don't want it to come across as a type of feel-good exercise where, oh, I grew food this year and that's it. It's really something that we can build around and become collaborative in our efforts. Like in this area, there's enough space where there's other significant gardeners within 2 miles. We have collaborated in the past towards growing food for a collective reason to give to local markets that supply food to our people. That way, we're transforming ourselves from a dead dependent people. We're dependent on everybody else to do this really for us at this moment. When we go, there's other groups that are growing food, producing food, distributing it to our neighborhoods, and we're consuming it. And the quality of food that we're consuming is subpar. So why not take the steps necessary to begin to produce for ourselves, make sure our families are eating well, make sure we're getting our children and the community involved. We can begin to alleviate some of the problems that are facing our community if we just do that.